I'm joined here by the DPIIT Secretary, Mr. Rajesh Kumar Singh, as well as co-founder of PhysicsWallah, Prateek Maheshwari. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking the time out. Very interesting points that both of you brought up in terms of the demands that the startup industry has. Prateek, could you start us off by some of the key demands? You spoke about taxation in terms of ESOPs as well. Sir, there's also a reverse flipping tax outgo that is quite heavy on startups right now. So could you elaborate a bit on the demands that the industry has, and then Sir can respond?
So we had a very candid discussion on demand and policies framework in general. One thing is we are closely working with DPIIT. Is how can we make ESOP framework more employee friendly in India? And already the unicorns, multiple unicorns of India have requested, and department has been very supportive. Second thing is how can we have more public-private partnerships in country where a lot of startups can contribute technology to governments, to government departments and solve real problems in India. So that's what the discussion was all about, and Sir have guided us on multiple aspects multiple policies, frameworks, and programs which we are running which are enabling a lot of startups out there
Yeah. So what would you like to comment on the taxation bit first?
So taxation bit is something that the startup ecosystem has been raising for some time, both on ESOPs and a few other sort of issues, angel tax, etc. Some of them, the Ministry of Finance has taken some steps to sort of ease the tax burden on them. On this particular issue of ESOPs, we'll pursue it further with Ministry of Finance. I mean, I can't take a call on this as such, but let me also say that there is a broader sort of enabling business environment that Government of India has tried to build up in India for the startup ecosystem. It's a combination of physical and digital infrastructure, including DPI, combined with a lot of other policy sort of enablers, including funding schemes like the Fund of Funds scheme and the Seed Fund scheme, combined with sort of awards and hackathons for startups who can crack real public policy problems, and also creating enabling environment among states through a healthy competition among them.
So also on stage, you mentioned that there was, you expressed your surprise at the fact that KYC hadn't been digitized yet across the fintech industry. I think that's also pertinent with what's going on in the larger ecosystem. So would you like to elaborate on that?
So this is an issue which came up during the Honorable Finance Minister's interaction with fintech firms yesterday, and it was, it was an interesting suggestion. I think it should have been done. The fact that we have our mobile providers, for example, do digital KYC for giving a new phone connection, for example. I think something similar, if not already done by the banks, should be looked at, and the RBI was quite positive about it. So yeah, and that combined with the other sort of announcements that the Honorable Finance Minister made, including a monthly VC with fintech firms to ensure that policy clarity and regulatory clarity is achieved for them. These are important steps in sort of ensuring that we have a clear policy environment and predictability when it comes to this very important part of our startup ecosystem.
Prateek, you also brought up a very important point as your leadership position with the IAMAI was the request for a national single window, sort of an extension of that for startups in particular. What exactly is the demand there?
So a lot of startups doesn't have the prior knowledge of regulations, and sometimes it's difficult to navigate among the departments of government So there is a single window clearance which is established, and we can expand that scope, and we can enable more and more startups to to use that facility to get proper licenses, to get proper knowledge, even to how to navigate through multiple government departments. That was the demand, and there are some initial steps which ministry have taken, and but overall I would say this is an amazing environment which have been created by the current establishment, and looking forward to see many unicorns coming out of India, and India is now attracting a lot of foreign investments because of current leadership, and this will enhance in future, if this sentiment continues. Yeah.
Lastly, a bit on the national, the single window clearance. You also mentioned that there's a possibility of a microsite coming up within that. Also, what are the other sort of demands that you're seeing from the industry? We're seeing the government very proactively reaching out to the industry and having these monthly, weekly calls. What are some very frequent demands that you come across?
Okay, so let me start from the single window. There is already a national single window which provides know your compliances kind of a facilitation there. So anybody can go on it, and depending on the nature of business, he's told what are the compliances or permissions that he will need. Startups could perhaps be facilitated on the same window, and we could even create a sort of a smaller special window for them in that direction. But national single window is a little bit of a work in progress because it is not a fully integrated sort of facilitation window cutting across government departments and state governments. That kind of integration is what we are working on. It's been done for some elements of it, some compliances, but not for all. The other thing that you raised was about what the kind of things that compliance issues that companies normally, startup founders normally raise. Some of those taxation issues are the primary ones, and those are, as DPIIT is a kind of an enabler of this ecosystem, we try to sort of pursue, follow up on some of these taxation issues wherever we think they are reasonable and they are sort of helpful to the growth of the startup ecosystem, and we'll continue to do that.
Lovely. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you for taking the time out.